One, two, one, two, one, two. What's going on? It's your boy Jason Mass. Jason Mass playing music. About to talk about Tim Buckley, Starsailor. Originally released in 1971. Yeah, let's talk about the great Mr. Buckley, the late great Mr. Tim Buckley. He died in 1975 at the age of 28 from a heroin overdose. His son, Jeff Buckley, he died sometime in the 90s. He drowned. I think they were around the same age, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, as far as Tim Buckley go, we're going to talk about the album Star Sailor, which is widely recognized as his crowning achievement artistically, and I fall in line with that. I agree with that. It's a masterpiece of a record, man. It's a great, great record. Um, it's the rightful classic of his Tim Buckley's catalog, and it goes into musically goes into this uncharted nether regions vocally and musically, you know, and it's a combination of folk, jazz, soul, rock, funk. All these genres are kind of touched on in various parts, but it doesn't squarely fit into any of those genres of music. The music doesn't, really conform to any of those boxes, uh, totally. And it's really nearly impossible to comfortably categorize this record. Um, Tim Buckley on this album sounds so far inside of his head that at times it's hard to really to really listen to it because it's almost the soundtrack to like a mental breakdown, to some sort of psychosis going on. But the music and the vocal gymnastics is so dynamic that you can't stop listening to it, and it just takes you to this whole other neverland of sound and expression that very few records that I've ever heard, take you. It's a beautiful record, but a difficult record. Um, Van Morrison, funny enough, was kind of moving along these same lines, but not quite to the extreme of Tim Buckley. Around maybe 68, 69, Van Morrison was doing something similar musically by kind of blending jazz and folk um, on his record, Astral Weeks. Um, yeah, please check out that. That's a great record. If you ever get around to that, that's Van Morrison Astral Week '68. Um, this album really sounds like the soundtrack to Coming Apart, and it's breathtaking. It is. That's definitely one word I would use to describe the sound coming off of this particular record. Simply breathtaking. Um, Simultaneously beautiful, scary, haunting, and totally disorienting. You um, I'm going to go ahead and go track by track with the record. Starts off with the first track, "Come Here, Woman," and it has this spooky beginning with this kind of low mixed guitar virtuosity that's kind of acts as the undercurrent, you know, before it breaks into this funky kind of rhythmic, soundscape for Tim Buckley to just lose himself in vocally. That's a 9 out of 10. Um, Next track, "I Woke Up." Um, these vocal shapes that Tim Buckley throw around totally anticipate future vocalists like Bjork and Tom York from Radiohead, Liz Fraser from the Cocteau Twins, and several other vocalists. And his influence on these vocalists, it's not felt directly because he's such a singular and idiosyncratic artist. It's hard to say, oh, so and so sounds like Tim Buckley outside of his son Jeff Buckley. But there's that. Third track is Monterey. It's a guitar groove based kind of piece. Perfect track. 10 out of 10. It's one of two to me perfect tracks on the record. But yeah, that's a great, great, great perfect track. The fourth track is Moulin Rouge. And this one was a 9 out of 10. It has a lot of French speaking and French horn, appropriately enough. On this track, it's the album's shortest track. The next track is Song to the Siren, which is a 9 out of 10. And this one was the one that was famously covered by This Mortal Coil in the 1980s and kind of brought back around a newfound interest in the music of Tim Buckley. This Mortal Coil, to me, is single-handedly responsible for that resurgence of Tim Buckley's people, wanting to get back into Tim Buckley's music. That's actually how I discovered Tim Buckley's music, was through This Mortal Coil back in the middle 80s, about 86 or so. Next track, Jungle Fire. Sounds like a spell being cast. Has this very voodoo kind of thing going on. 9 out of 10. Very dark sounding track. Title track Starsailor is the most overtly psychedelic and dark track on the record, and it sounds like I said before, the total psychosis of Tim Buckley. It's just otherworldly what's going on, and there's no words to it. It's just these sounds vocally, just vocal expressionism going on. It's just 9 out of 10. It's a very strong track, very solid track. It's from a solid album. The entire album is just start to finish exercise and just great, a great artistic and musical mind. And the next track is entitled The Healing Festival. Driving piece of kind of New Orleans sounding jazz. Great song. 9 out of 10 on that one. And then it ends, Starsailor, the album ends on Down by the Borderline. A kind of wailing horn intro that breaks into one of the album's best tracks, just this funky guitar riff that just doesn't let up for the remainder of the song. And that's a 10 out of 10. Yeah, it's Tim Buckley's multi-octave vocal range is it's one of the freaks of nature. It's one of the wonders of the world to me. It's just I can't say enough about this guy vocally. And a lot of the things he's doing vocally and musically on this record, it's rooted in a lot of improvisation and trusting his musical instincts and musical intuition. And can't say enough about this record. Essential listening. And Starsailor by Tim Buckley, 9.2 out of 10. Released 1971. Essential listening. Can't say enough about it. There you go. Jason Mass playing music. There you have it. Peace.